star. And a very warm welcome to our viewers joining us live and exclusive here on Sky Sports. You've joined us for the very best ringside seat in the business. All the officials have been appointed by the British Boxing Board of Control. Here present with us at ringside. Our steward in charge is Dr. Ozzy Ross. Area representative is Mr. Robert Smith. Inspectors Dave Porter and Richard Barber. And our three medical officers, Mr. Paul Bamwell, Dr. Tony Buckland and Dr. Ian White. Well, let's get the action underway then. 8 rounds of boxing, international super middleweight division. Our matchmaker, Mr. Neil Bowers of London, and timekeeper at the bell is Mr. Ray Rice, and referee in charge of the action is Mr. Richie Davis. Firstly, and introducing to you, he's fighting out of the red corner, wearing the white trunks trimmed with black and weighed in at 12 stone, 7 3/4 pounds, and brings an 8-fight record with 5 wins, 2 inside the scheduled distance, 2 losses and 2 draws. He's from Moscow, Russia. Would you please welcome Vage Kocharyan. And across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner, he's wearing the black trunks and weighed in at 12 stone, 2 1/4 pounds. Undefeated as a professional with 14 contests, 14 wins and 12 inside the scheduled limit. He comes to the ring as the current IBO Super Middleweight Champion of the World from Belfast, Brian Magee. So it's 8 rounds of boxing. Let's get the action underway then in the super middleweight division.
You've both had your instructions in the dressing room. Could be a good, clean contest. Good luck to you both.
Richie Davis gives them some final instructions. I'm not sure Vage Kocharyan could understand a word of that, but I'm sure he got the sense. And it's an interesting one, this, because this fella here, Magee, an unbeaten prospect, certainly a puncher, 12 of 14 inside the distance. This fella we don't know an awful lot about. I got to be honest here, Nicky. Apart from his ring record, I know nothing about Vage Kocharyan whatsoever, other than the reports that we hear that he is tough and durable.
Yeah, that's right. He's been brought up by Philip Fondue and the trainer Igor Schaffer, and they always bring over some good boys. So we expect him to be well schooled in the typical Russian way. And very strong and very aggressive is the usual pattern. Oh, good right hook lead there, Kocharyan.
Yes, Kocharyan with just 2 losses to his name, but unfortunately for him, they were both his last 2 fights. They were over 8 rounds. He lost them both on points, so that would certainly suggest some toughness. And I tell you what, that chin will be tested by Brian Magee tonight.
Yeah, he's a natural puncher. Speed. Doesn't look that strong, does he? He's quite soft to look at, Magee. But he really packs some power.
Glad you said that. Yes, and coming off winning that IBO world title with a first-round stoppage in December of Ramon Brites. He was cock-a-hoop after that, of course. A little bit disappointed in a sense, I guess, to be fighting here. He was on the undercard of the proposed Prince Nazim return to action at the London Arena. That, of course, got postponed because of Hamed's injury. But he needs to keep busy. And it's one of those fights he can't afford to take his eye off the ball here. He's got to make sure he looks good against this fella.
And that's difficult against these Russians. They're good fighters. It's hard to get rid of them because it's not only difficult to hit them cleanly, it's difficult to hit them at all. Their defense is very, very good normally. And their chin is also good.
All these Russians, they're so well schooled as amateurs, aren't they, that they do understand boxing basics.
Yeah, they certainly do, and they can cause trouble for anybody, especially with this southpaw stance. Magee will, you know, he's an unbeaten fighter, the IBO champion at super middleweight, and you know he's expecting to go places, looking for world title honours, and this could, you know, ruin everything should he come unstuck here.
Yes, there's no title at stake in this fight. Magee's IBO super middleweight belt not on the line. But I tell you what, it wouldn't half dent his credibility if he failed to stop this fella, or at least beat this fella. And the Russian stepped in at short notice. And you always kind of think, oh, someone's taking it as a late substitute, that gives an advantage to the fellow that's prepared, but it doesn't, because he doesn't know what he's up against. I mean, you faced that in your career.
Yeah, lots of times, and you know, the biggest shock for me was when I had to face Carl Thompson at 12 hours notice. That was a mismatch at the time, but you know, these sort of things can happen. You're just not prepared for what's coming in front of you. And also, don't forget, these Russians are training all the time. You know, they're very, very fit boxers. He only boxed last December. I doubt whether he's been out of the gym. And as we see, he's well schooled.
And Magee, you'll see, well, we've already seen in those first 3 minutes, taking this fella very seriously indeed, showing a lot of respect.
His last fight, Raymond Britters, you know, Britters was expected to be a tough opponent. He was taken out in 1 round. Well, that shows you the quality of this guy. You know, Magee was nowhere near taking out Kocharyan then.
No, didn't wobble at all there, the Russian. Well, that was the scouting report, wasn't it, Nicky? Tough and durable, and a guy who knows how to look after himself. I'm sure Magee is aware of that.
It's probably what he needs to. He needs to be pushed, he needs to go the distance. Only done it twice so far in his career.
10 seconds.
How do you cope with a situation like this mentally, Nicky, where, you know, he was thinking he was going to be on a major bill in London, on the undercard of the Prince Nazim show. That all got scrapped, and here he is now at Crawley again on the undercard. And some fighters, I guess they might feel a little bit sorry for themselves in this situation. You can't afford to be like that, can you?
No, you certainly can't. And I think he's a professional fighter. The corner are very professional. And they'll be totally focused on this contest in mind. Boxing is the sort of sport where, you know, it involves fear. And when fear's involved, you have to concentrate. And easier than, say, a football player to focus on a new match at last notice. But Magee normally, you know, uses his speed to his advantage. He's been outsped here by Kocharyan. He's very quick-handed, the Russian.
Yeah, knows what he's doing, doesn't he? There's no question about that.
You watch him lead with that right hook. Again, he did it then, and he's catching Magee every time.
Oh, that could be nasty. That's the sort of thing that can get a freak accident. You heard the bell go there, because Magee's right foot slid straight into it and through it.
Well, there's a lot of controversy, Nick, in boxing at the moment with these Toblerone ring advertisers, the sponge canvas-covered sponge triangles.
Yeah.
Stand over there. Stand over there.
There's a lot of people wanting them banned. Some people say it saves boxers who've been knocked out and they fall to the floor from hitting their heads hard on the ring apron. I think they're more of a hindrance than a help.
Which I suspect is a view that's shared by Richie Davis, the referee, right now, who's has to take an extended time out while the timekeeper gets his various timepieces sorted out. It was nothing more than a slip, and as you saw, the legs just went, you know, the feet just gave way, didn't they?
But the feet landed straight on the Toblerone and they gave way. It wasn't the boxer's boots that slipped, it was the Toblerone.
Thankfully for Magee, no damage done. That's the sort of place where you can turn an ankle or damage a knee when you land on him as well. But
and a lot of people are blaming the press photographers at ringside who are leaning over the ropes and pushing them further in and further in.
this isn't going to be a walk in the park for Brian Magee, is it? Clearly. This fella knows what he's on about.
Well, if Magee comes through this fight victorious, then it'll be a very, very good fight for him. He's going to learn a lot tonight.
I always think it never does a fighter any harm at all. A fighter that's got a string of knockouts and quick results to his name like Brian Magee has, to come in and really be stretched by somebody who takes whatever you've got and is still standing at the end of it. It just lets you know you can't just throw a punch and win. You're going to have to work.
Yeah, exactly. And it's work that you just can't get in the gym. No matter how much sparring you do, this is, you know, small gloves, full out. Lord again with the left hook counter. He's being beaten to the punch here.
He's certainly not dominating the fight, that's for sure. Look at this, you can see how cagey they're being. That's an absolute mark of respect. Both of them just very wary of each other, because the Russian will know about Magee's reputation as well. He won't want to get tagged. But Magee right now, at the moment, frankly, is having trouble landing a clean shot at all.
Yeah, he's landed one or two good ones, but you know, he's not winning this round. It's very close.
Well, the pre-fight experts that said this would be a nice little gentle training session for Brian Magee have got this one completely wrong.
Kocharyan has only ever had 2 stoppages in his career, both in the 4th round. It's not an example of big punching power. That's one thing Magee could be grateful for here, because this is going to be a hard fight.
And that seemed a pretty short round as well to me, Nicky. I'm not sure if my watch is playing up or whether I've blinked or something, but I wonder if they've taken a bit of time off because of that slip.
I don't think they took time off. I think the Toblerones landed, they saw him landed on the timekeeper there. His watches went everywhere, and I think he lost control of the time.
Seconds out, round 3.
Well, often the timekeeper's the centre of attention. Round 3 of an 8-round affair. Once again, he's in and he's out again fast, that Russian. And as you say, Nicky, he's not got the reputation as being a big puncher, but as far as we can tell, he's not been on the floor either, so he's a durable so-and-so.
And he's been boxing at light heavyweight too, Nick. So Magee's not particularly big for what he's used to. Look at Magee's mouth, it's wide open.
Oh, he landed there. Now he's got him. He's been waiting for that shot for a while. You can always tell when a boxer's hurt, because as soon as he grabs on and holds, you know he's buying himself some time, and that's exactly what the Russian did. Showed his experience, just let his head clear, but that will give Magee some hope.
On the other hand, if he keeps landing with no effect, it could hurt his confidence. He's a big puncher.
Got him again.
Well, he had some effect there.
Yeah, that's twice he's managed to land with that left.
Kocharyan has you know, recovered very well. Takes a great shot.
But I think if you're in the Russian's corner, you're a little bit concerned at the moment, because that's twice he got tagged and twice he felt it all the way down to his boots. It's still early in this in this 8-rounder. We're just in the 3rd. And it's changed the momentum of the fight, hasn't it, a little bit? It's the Russian backing up now, and Magee's got a bit of spring in his step.
Yeah, I think Magee works off the right jab and then comes across to the left hook. He's going to have some success. The Russian is holding his right hand, his lead hand down low, and is open to a hook from that side of the head.
Oh, right hand got him, and the left followed him up. Followed it up, and the Russian took another good shot.
Terrific right hand there.
Tell you what, Kocharyan never been stopped, but he'll do well to survive 8 rounds here, I feel.
I don't care what you say, nobody can continue to take punches that hard. He's either going to change his approach to this fight and defend more, or he's going to get stopped. Low that right hook from Magee.
Much better round for the Irishman. Up until the time he landed that first left hook, he was looking perplexed and bothered and unhappy. And then he landed the left, followed up with another one, and then the right, and it's told him now that he can hurt this fella and he can wear him down.
Yes, some terrific punches landing during the last round. And they all came from Magee.
Well, I don't speak Russian, Nicky, so I'm not quite sure what they're saying in the corner, but it would be something along the lines of keep your guard up, I suspect.
I think he knows that. Look at some of the punches he took here. That left cross, you know, would have decked most super middleweights in the world would have gone over there.
10 seconds.
There's that right, followed up by the left, that had him backing up.
Terrific shots. Such a good puncher, Magee. Does everything correct. Short hooks.
Well, now can Magee use that third round as the foundation now for a strong finish? Because I must admit, and I'm sure he'll admit it himself after this fight, those first 2 rounds he didn't look at all comfortable.
Do you know, I think he will. I think he's the sort of fighter who's a clever guy and will learn from that and just get more confident. And I can see him stopping the Russian here. Even though these Russians, we say, are so strong and so intelligent and so well schooled, I just see Magee capable of a higher level.
Combination again, and now what's all this about? Oh, what on earth? Well, he sort of...
You okay? Box on, box on.
Well, I have no idea what that was about at all. He was sort of seemed to be waving at his leg.
Has he hurt his leg?
Or maybe just bought himself some time very craftily, because that combination stung. I don't think he wants much more of this fella.
No, he's retreating very fast now.
Oh boy, he's looking to survive now, isn't he?
Yeah, Magee is, you know, a class above. And he's unloading. He knows, I think he's got the measure of this man now. It may be a mistake to make, actually. Sometimes guys, suddenly they feel they're going to stop their opponent. They look for the big punches and forget all the work they've done to create the success in the first place. He's to work in combinations.
Yes, he's not exactly piling in, is he, here, Magee? He's still thinking about his work. Certainly the eyes are clear from the Russian. I just think he's feeling Magee's power and doesn't want much more to do with it. And who can blame him, quite frankly? That business with the leg, I'm sure that was kidology. I'm sure he's bought himself 10 seconds there, you know.
It was great work if it was, that's for sure. Because he did buy himself 10. That's,
Yeah,
you know,
and
no
Magee
doubt
retreated and Richie Davis didn't know what was going
on.
on.
Exactly, yeah. Sometimes you get hit in the head, though, Nick. You do feel it in your toes.
Covering up well. He can do nothing with him. So he backs off. It's like trying to dig a crab out of its shell at the moment with this Russian. Well, to go back to what you were saying earlier, Nicky, that the Russian might possibly have done enough to pinch the first 2 rounds, but Magee has shown who's the boss here in the last 2.
Yes, and he ran out of ideas there a little bit towards the end. Magee, he started looking for the big shot. He had a lot of success in the early part of the round, and it's worked against him.
Get the double jab going.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I was saying. They're telling him to work on the jab and start throwing combinations, because he's looking at the single shot and they're suiting the Russian. That's the sign to look for in a great fighter or a world-class fighter. They know how to stop these journeymen.
Let's have a look back at that rather strange business here, and look at this. It's now what on earth?
I felt it in my toe, ref.
Unorthodox, but it worked. And I think it worked just because he caught Richie Davis completely by surprise. I mean, Richie was looking and going, what's the problem? Hey, when you're in a boxing ring, you can take any advantage that you can get, I would imagine.
Exactly, exactly. And there'll be a few young boxers learning from that tonight. Russians starting to come forward again. This will suit Magee.
Magee just needs to soften him up again and put him in his place. Well, he's another one off the conveyor belt, isn't he, Nicky? You know, you mentioned that this, you know, this stream of tough Eastern Europeans that come over, and they know how to take care of the business, don't they?
Yeah, there's so many amateur boxers over there. You know, the competition amongst the gyms is immense, and they learn so quickly.
Not so long ago, we saw the fella from Armenia, whose name escapes me, had pitched up here in the United Kingdom, and they threw him in with Tony Dodson. Blow me down, he went and took a points decision off Tony Dodson.
Yeah. Well, they do come to win. That's the one thing you can guarantee with somebody that comes over from Russia, Ukraine, that sort of area. You know, they're talented and they do come to win. Whereas you get some of the southern states of America or some of the journeymen from some parts of Europe, and they just, you know, they lay down. It's pathetic to see, and the fans go home feeling hard done by. The boxers learn nothing. And they probably don't charge as much as well.
This fella doesn't fall into that category, that's for sure. They made him change his shorts as well before the fight. The Russian came in with black shorts, and of course, what you going to do? The Irishman, who's the champion, or the Russian that no one's heard of, one of them's going to change their shorts. You know which way that one's going to go.
Yeah, it's a double-headed coin they used. Changing the attacks now, Magee, trying to bring the hands down, work into the body. You know, we want him to stop the Russian, but, you know, maybe he goes 8 rounds. It's this sort of point he learns from. Now he's starting to lower the attack and then come up with the head shots to the head, and it works.
Brian Carr, meanwhile, getting ready for his Commonwealth and British Super Bantamweight title fight. Interesting that he's fighting in the other guy's backyard. His manager, Alex Morrison, can perhaps explain that situation.
Alex, why have you agreed to take this fight in Crawley, with Brian being Commonwealth champion already?
Well, we discussed the options. We could have had the fight in Glasgow, but there's a lot of pressure in selling tickets. The last show he sold 130, 140 tickets. Put a lot of pressure on him.
Is Brian still ambitious? He's just won the Commonwealth title.
Of course he is.
And winning the British title, what will that mean to the whole team? It's the one title that's really eluded him.
It'll mean a lot to us. I've been involved in boxing now for 20 odd years. I've only had one British champion in that time. It'll mean a lot to me myself.
And how's his training been going?
Great. Plenty of sparring. Training's been excellent.
Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Alex Morrison explaining that situation. I don't know about this home advantage business, Nicky. Perhaps you can give us your thoughts on that. I mean, when the bell sounds, it's you and the other guy anyway, so in a sense it doesn't matter where you go.
No, that's true, but then there's a lot of travelling to be made if you're going away. It's nice if you can just leave your house you know, that morning, nice and relaxed, get to the weigh-in, no problem. Better than staying in hotels, and it's nice to have the support outside the ring.
Stop boxing. Sign.
Both these fellas have travelled a long way to be here in Crawley, which, for those of you that don't know your geography of the United Kingdom too well, think of Gatwick Airport and you're just about there.
Well, the last round, he started the same this round. He's worked the body, Magee. I think that's the right tactics. And now and then come up with big hooks to the head.
He's recovered from his little wobbles, though, hasn't he, the Russian? When you consider what he's been hit with, and he's bringing a bit of snap to his work again, and just paid for it with a left. But it was a long left.
Well, he started to mix it with Magee. And as I said earlier, that's the wrong thing to do. As soon as he goes forward, that'll suit the Irishman. He needs to stay on the retreat, the Russian, if he wants to stay out of harm.
And he is boxing on the retreat as well, Kocharyan. And let's be honest, you can't blame him for this, can you, Nicky? I mean,
No. He's taken punches during this contest that would have laid out most super middleweights. He's come a long way. He's giving one of our best boxers a very good workout, and we can't complain at this. You know, it's a good entertainment. And he's not out of this fight yet. Of course, we can't talk about Magee winning just yet. He's a good quality fighter, Kocharyan.
I think he's lost his ambition a bit, though. He's been hurt earlier. I don't think he's here to try and win anymore. He's here just to stay out of trouble and mess up Magee as much as he can. And I'm not being critical when I say that. He's earning his money.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he did come looking for the win, though. It was only when Magee started landing those bombs that he thought better of it.
Oh yeah, the first 2 rounds he looked really good, didn't he? You know, and he's still looking a bit cocky now. He's confusing Magee. He's got good hand speed, and I think he's got a fair bit of power, hurtful power.
Right. Okay, well done.
Enough to gain respect of anybody.
Left hand lands again, but the Russian just ties up Magee before any damage can be done. And the gap, certainly on my scorecard, Nicky, between them just gets wider and wider.
Yes, and I don't think it's going to narrow at all. So we're looking at a Magee victory here. Just boxing being boxing, you can't take anything for granted.
So we're getting ready for round 7. And the sense of urgency in both corners, it has to be said, is not really there at the moment. I think both camps know what's going on here. And I think in many senses that the Russian camp has more or less decided to accept the situation and just go with it. Magee, let's face it, is not being made to look a superstar tonight, is he?
No, I think he's showing good quality though, and anybody who knows the game of boxing well will appreciate the skills of the Russian and will know the difficulties Magee is facing. So I think it's understandable the limited success he's having, although he's boxing well in my opinion.
More tape. Call me a conspiracy theorist, but boy, this doesn't half buy you some time.
Well, the Russian was looking for time there. You know, most boxers wait till the referee stops it, but he actually approached the referee.
Would you like to see Magee throwing more, taking a few risks here?
Yes, I would. When they've mixed it up, when Kocharyan has come forward, that's when Magee's had most success. And I think when they get inside and fight closely, Magee always comes off on top. So you're right, it's sensible to think and right to think that Magee would have the better of it in fighting.
Here we go.
He's still finding it so hard to tag him cleanly here, Magee. He landed that big long left just a few moments ago, but hasn't been able to follow it up at all. Every time this Russian's been in difficulties, he's held and spoiled and tangled and bought time and done whatever he needs to do to get his head clearing. And I'm not saying that as a negative at all. That's what you do if you get hurt. You look after yourself.
Yeah, and a lot of these Russians, you know, they know they take on the role of journeyman, and very good journeyman, because they know they're going to get well paid. And they're coming over here and earning a few £1,000s, which back in their own country, I stand to be corrected, but I would assume is a good wage. And they do it every month. You know, they earn a good living from doing so.
Come on. Come here.
Well, somebody needs to get Richie Davis some Russian lessons if he's going to do any more of this fella's fights, because there's always something.
But they didn't stick that then. They just stuck the wet bandage or tape which is coming off back onto the glove. It's bound to come off again in a moment. It needed new tape around there.
And he's always doing enough work, isn't he, the Russian, just to let Magee know, I'm still with you.
Yes. And he's that short, compact shape again, which is hard to hit too. Not much target area there.
And I guess the good news for Brian Magee that'll come out of this fight is that he'll get the win, barring something spectacular in the last 3 minutes. But I think he'll also be honest enough to know that he needs to find another level now as well. It's one thing to be the IBO world champion. There's a lot of good fighters out there, a lot of fighters that can make you look ordinary, a lot of fighters that can stand up to your shots.
Yeah, exactly. As I said, it's the truly world-class fighters that know how to stop these very tough journeymen. And they do things differently. And Magee has started to work the body a lot more. It's only an 8-round fight, so maybe over 12 rounds he'd stop this Russian. But he hasn't quite yet worked out how to change his approach and vary his attacks enough to stop this Russian.
He's looked, throughout this fight, he's looked to me like he's thinking about it. Whereas, you know, as you say, the world-class guys, they're instinctive boxers. They instinctively know what they're doing and where they're going. This fella's really having to think this fella out.
Yeah, you get nice. I mean, probably Joe Calzaghe at this weight would have stopped this Russian, or may stop this Russian. Having said that, Calzaghe did the same against Rick Thornberry. You know, within 2 rounds, when he defended his world title a year and a half ago, it was all over more or less. And then the Australian took Calzaghe 12 rounds. Joe did the same thing round after round. And sometimes boxers get in that pattern they just can't get out of. Having said that, this Russian is a very good opponent, and Magee's won it convincingly.
Yes,
if he wins, fingers crossed, of course.
Yes, well, it would be a major shock if Vage Kocharyan was to pull this one out of the fire any which way. It's been really since round 3, since that first big left landed, it's been Magee the hunter and Kocharyan the prey, and the prey doing more than enough to survive.
Now, although Magee doesn't need to win this round on our cards, I'm sure he knows that. He'll be a proud boxer, and he likes his punching record. He'll be trying to get the finish here, I'm sure of it. Unfortunately, he's trying to do it with 1 shot.
And of course, for his handlers, his manager, trainer, they can use this fight to keep Magee's feet on the ground if he was getting carried away with himself, which I'm sure he wasn't. But if he was strutting around the place like he was big time, this is the kind of thing that brings you back down to earth, isn't it?
Yes, well, it is. Having said that, it's still a very good performance, and hopefully he'll appreciate that, because we don't want kids losing confidence, especially our fighters. Hopefully he'll be told, and he'll look at this video and realise what a good boxer he was boxing tonight.
There's no doubt about that. The irony is, he looks a bit more perky and bright now, and there he is.
Yeah, look.
You've got to take your hat off.
Yes.
To Vage Kocharyan, I tell you, he hasn't missed a trick tonight.
For an 8-fight novice, he knows a few tricks, that's for sure.
He's had a few fights as an amateur. I'm sure that we don't have his record, but this fella didn't pick up all this guile in eight fights, that's for sure. I don't think I've ever seen a boxer so many tricks.
Right! Let him out, let him out.
He's going to bring out a rabbit out of his shorts next time.
Well, it was a good left cross, but you know, Kocharyan come back with a couple himself.
Last 2 or 3 rounds, he's not been bothered, you know.
No, and he's kidding his way now through this last round. You know, posing and pretending and threatening with a few punches, not really doing much.
And the front headlock is always going to come in useful.
Yeah.
Last few seconds then. And Richie Davis does the inevitable. I think Richie Davis would have lost his license if he'd seen that any other way. Absolute domination for Magee. After a couple of rounds, Well, he really had to think about it. He then went on the offensive, caught his man sufficiently for Kocharyan to think, hang on a minute, I've got to take it easy with this fella. And a good win, as you say, Nicky, because this was an opponent that really knew the business.
Yeah, I think he's quite satisfied. He knows what a good opponent that he had in front of him tonight. And, you know, Philip Fondu, Igor Schaffer, they bring over some very, very good boys, and they're going to get a lot more work in the future, because that's, you know, something that the British public and the British promoters will appreciate tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 8 rounds of boxing, referee Richie Davis has scored that contest. For Kocharyan, 73 points. For Magee, 79 points. Your winner and still undefeated from Belfast, Northern Ireland, Ryan Magee.
And that scoreline absolutely right. Well, it's the main event after the break, the Commonwealth and British Super Bantamweight titles on the line.